Okay, in class we talked about simplifying fractions. This is a very important skill for you to have when adding fractions, when working with fractions generally. And in particular, it's very important when you get to algebra. So we know, as I have said, that in math there are often many ways to solve a problem and get to the same answer. I'm going to show you two ways of simplifying fractions. They're the two most important. And it's important for you to go to my website and watch the videos on simplifying fractions in the math websites section. Um, I will also be posting this on my YouTube channel, so you'll be able to see this as many times as you want. So the first way is prime factorization. The second way is using the greatest common factor, which involves ordinary factoring, not prime factoring. Okay, so let's look at the number 12, 36. That's a fraction, obviously, numerator and denominator. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you the prime factorization method that I showed you in class and that the Math Antics video also shows you. So let's look at 12 and do the prime factorization for 12. Remember, we use a factor tree for prime factorization. We say 2 times 6 equals 12, and 2 is prime. 6 is not prime, so we have to factor it further, and we go to 2 times 3. So 2 is prime, 3 is prime. Now we have the prime factorization, and we can write it up here, 2 times 2 times 3. Then we have 36. Now, 36 obviously is 6 times 6. Now, neither 6 or the other 6, since they're the same number, is a prime number. They're both composite numbers, so we have to factor them further. So 6 is 2 times 3. 6 is 2 times 3. So our prime factorization of 36 is 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. But you know that's also the same as 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 because of the commutative property of multiplication. The commutative property says that in multiplication problems, the order of the numbers does not matter. It can be 2 times 3 or 3 times 2, same answer. So I'm going to change the order, and I'm going to write 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So now, what do we do next? Well, we know that any number in the numerator that is also in the denominator, so you have the same numerator, the same denominator, is going to be equal to 1. We also know that 1 multiplied by anything doesn't change the thing. So 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 8 is 8. So the 1 has no effect in multiplication. So here we have a situation where we've got 1 here, and as a result, it's meaningless. Remember, 1 doesn't change the answer, so we can actually cross that out. We can do the same for the next set of 2's that we have above and below the line. Right here, we can get rid of those. Now the 3 and the 3 are gone, and oh my gosh, we don't have anything up here, but we do. When you run out of any numbers on the line, you know that there's always going to be a 1 there because 1 times 3 doesn't change anything. So when we put that 1 in above the line as a numerator, what we see is that our original fraction, 1236, is equal to 1/3. Okay. Now let's look at this fraction, 6/10, and do the same thing. We're again using the prime factorization method. So 6 is easy to do a prime factorization on. We did it, in fact, in the prior problem. So it's 2 times 3. And we know that 10 is 2 times 5, and that 2 and 5 are both prime numbers. So we know that the prime factorization of 6 is 2 times 3, and the prime factorization of 10 is 2 times 5. We know that the 2's cancel each other out, And we are left with 3/5. So we've quickly figured out that 6/10 is equal to 3/5. Now that's using the prime factorization method. Okay, the second method we can use to simplify a fraction is the system which is called the greatest common factor. And this is the way it works. First, you factor the larger number. In this case, it's 36. So I put the 36 here, and I made my factor t. And what I did is I factored it, as you can see, 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 6 times 6. All of those equal 36. Now, here is the important part. After you find the factors of 36, you've got to ask yourself which of those factors is also a factor of 12. Well, we know 1 is always a factor. 2, we know, is a factor of 12 as well. 3 is, 4 is, 6 is, and, ooh, look, 12 is. Now, which of these is the largest, the greatest common factor? The greatest factor that is a factor of both 36 and 12? Well, the answer is obviously 12. So what do I do with that information? What I'll do is I will divide both my numerator and my denominator by 12. And the number I get is going to be the numerator and denominator of my simplified fraction. So 12 divided by 12 is 1. 36 divided by 12, we can tell from our factor t down here, is 3. And consequently, we know that 12/36 is equal to 1/3. So this is the greatest common factor method. I will show you some more examples in class. Remember, if this isn't obvious to you, if you don't understand it, if you're having problems with it, come see me for a learning lunch and we'll do a bunch of them together.